Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudiraet
Tato Jayamudiraet.
Nashtaprayesu Abhadresu
Nashtaprayesu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke
Bhagavate Uttama
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki.
So, reading from chapter 5, titled Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness, and the verse is 18. Vidya Vinaya Samparne
Vidya Vinaya Samparne
Brahmane Gavinhastini
Brahmane Gavinhastini
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Chaiva
Pandita Samadarshina
Pandita Samadarshina
Vidya Vinaya Samparne
Vidya Vinaya Samparne
Brahmane Gavihastini
Brahmane Gavinhastini
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Pandita Samadarshina.
Pandita Samadarshina.
Any Prabhuji and Mataji would like to read?
Vidya Vinay Sampanne
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Brahmane Gavihastini
Brahmane Gavihastini
Shuni Chaiva Shabapake
Suni
Chaiva Swapake Cha
Pandita Samadarshina.
Pandita Samadarshina
Hare Krishna.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Vidya Vinaya Samparne
Brahmane Gavihastini
Brahmane Gavihastini
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Pandita Samadarshina.
Pandita Samadarshina
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Brahmane Gavihastini
Brahmane Gavihastini
Suni Chaiva Shvapaketa
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Pandita Samadarshina
Pandita Samadarshina
Vidya Vinaya Samparne
Vidya Vinaya Samparne
Brahmane Gavihastini
Brahmane Gavihastini
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Pandita Samadarshina
Pandita Samadarshina
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Brahmane Gavihastini
Brahmane Gavihastini
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Panditaha Samadarshinaha
Pandita Samadarshina. Word by word meaning. Vidya,
Vidya
with education.
with
Education
Vinaya,
Vinaya
and gentleness.
and
Gentleness.
Sampanne,
Sampanne
fully equipped.
fully equipped.
Brahmane,
Brahmane
Brahmane.
in the Brahmana.
in the
The Brahmana.
Gavi,
Gavi.
In the cow.
in
In
the
the cow.
The cow.
Hastini.
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 In the elephant.
In
In
the
the elephant.
Suni.
Suni.
In the dog.
In the
The
dog.
dog.
Cha.
Cha.
And.
And
And
Eva.
Eva.
Certainly.
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 Supake.
Swapake.
In the dog eater, the outcast.
And the
In
dog
the dog eater, the outcast.
Cha.
Cha.
Respectively.
Respectively.
Pandita.
Pandita.
Those who are wise.
Those who
Those who
are
are wise.
Samadarshina.
some other
Darshinaha.
Who see with equal vision.
See with equal vision.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Swami Prabhupada ki jai.
Ijai.
The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, outcast. So, Prabhuji or Mataji, if anybody would like to read this page of the purport on the screen.
Purport. A Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. The Brahmana and the outcast may be different from the social point of view, or a dog, a cow, and an elephant may be different from the point of view of species. But these differences of body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. This is due to their relationship to the Supreme. For the Supreme Lord, by his plenary portion as Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. As far as the bodies are concerned, in different castes or different species of life, the Lord is equally kind to everyone because he treats every living being as a friend, yet maintains himself as Paramatma, regardless of the circumstances of the living entities.
Somebody else can read this.
The Lord as the Paramatma is present both in the outside and in the Brahmana. Although the body of a Brahmana and that of an outcast are not the same. The bodies are material productions of different modes of material nature, but the soul and the super soul within the body are of the same spiritual quality. The similarity in the quality of the soul and the super soul, however, does not make them equal in quantity, for the individual soul is present only in that particular body, whereas the Paramatma is present in each and every body. A Krishna conscious person has full knowledge of this, and therefore he is truly learned and has equal vision. The similar characteristics of the soul and the super soul are that they are both conscious, eternal, and blissful. But the difference is that the individual soul is conscious within the limited jurisdiction of the body, whereas the super soul is conscious of all the bodies. The super soul is present in all the bodies without distinction.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Visakha Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisavana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mancha Kalpataru Vishwavigva Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakti Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Bhagavad Gita discussion forum. And what a verse to start. And I know I'm not very qualified to speak on this verse because this verse is such a powerful verse. If we follow this verse, the wars, the battles which are going on in this world is not going to happen. And what a way Krishna is explaining this verse, and he's making it so relevant. If you go deep into this verse, we realize how powerful it is. So let's try to dissect this verse by trying to understand, by going deep into this. So why is Krishna in this verse is saying a person who is a pandita, who is a self-realized soul, who looks at everyone, samadarshina, equally. And why did Krishna use this word cow, elephant and dog here? And it is very important for us as we are doing this Bhakti Vriksha, and we're trying to understand the mood and try to see why Krishna is explaining it like that. As you can see, cow is an animal in the modes of goodness. An elephant is in the mode of passion. And dog is in the mode of ignorance. He can eat anything from anywhere. So the cow, elephant and dog, it transcends all the aspects of the animalistic behavior, all the animalistic modes. And then Krishna is also saying, even you are talking about human beings, there is one end where there is a Brahmana who is supposed to understand and who has to be in the mode of goodness. And then the other extreme is a dog eater who can eat anything, and he is in the mode of ignorance and passion. So here Krishna is explaining cow, elephant, dog, Brahman and dog eater in the context that these are explained as all the aspects a person or all a species can go through. How interactive in terms of their mode of goodness or mode of passion and mode of ignorance is in terms of indulging. So whenever we in this material world, when we associate with people, a lot of times people try to associate with a certain materially inclined people, somebody who is educationally inclined. He will be always trying to spend his time against people with big degrees. A person who is a musician, he will do it with a set of musicians. And likewise, you will find that people flock to different areas. But here Krishna is saying a person who is self-realized, who is a pandita, he always sees everyone equally. He doesn't discriminate between them, because he sees that in the heart of that person, that different species, Krishna is there as super soul and soul. Like, say for example, you come to this country, United States, and in the beginning, say you come like 20-25 years back, there are not many people from Indian origin. And when you see a person in the in a street or a market, you tend to recognize it, that hey, how are you, which part of India you are from, and that is very obvious. And that belief has been inculcated by virtue of our upbringing, that we are from this place, and this Indian, American, white, black, brown, this is all inculcated in our upbringing. And you have a United Nation trying to calm things down. But the United Nation, as you can see, is not able to help in any way, trying to, solve problem among the barriers which exist. So when you see somebody in a street, when there is no one from India, and you tend to address them as, hey, I think you are one of us, and you have that element of jubilation in our mind. So here Krishna is saying, if a person who knows that everybody has soul inside, and we soulful persons are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, because Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Aham Bija Pada Prita. That means he is the seed giving father of everyone. Then you would say, hey, I have soul and this person has soul. Like I met that Indian 20 years back on the street and I have that element of jubilation. And even if this person happens to be, materially low or high, as long as I behave with him as if he is part and parcel of the Supreme and I am part and parcel of the Supreme, we are part of the same spiritual father, then all the problems will not happen. So that's why this verse is, if it has to be taken in the right context, all the problems in this world will go away. And that is why you have that element of jubilation when you see somebody from the same state in India, in the streets of US, you see them talking in the same language as yours, then you want to mingle with them, right? Likewise, here what Krishna is saying is, if this person has soul, then likewise you should think that, hey, they are originating from the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I shouldn't have that element of distinction. Exactly like how when you saw somebody belonging, if you are from Karnataka and we met somebody speaking in Kannada in the streets, you have that affinity, right? Likewise, if somebody is from the spiritual personality of Godhead Krishna and he has the soul, then you would have the same interaction. But what has happened is our upbringing has created that element of distinction, which is exactly why there is so much problem. And when this problem happened, there was this person, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. He wanted to bring everybody come under the same roof. He wanted to build a place where everybody, irrespective of where we are from, can come and stay within the roof with no distinction that, okay, I have to do this. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says our misery starts when we start planning for happiness. I'd like to explain that a little bit. So when you start planning for happiness, you have excitement, you start hankering to get something. So you have urge. And when you have urge, as you know, the urge, they get inflicted by the illusory energy of the Lord, or some people call it Maya. And then you grow an element of lust. And when the lust is satisfied, you become more prone to seeking more of the same thing. That means you become greedy. And when this lust is not satisfied, you become angry. So when you start planning for material happiness, our anxiety starts, our misery starts at that time, because we want to enjoy separating ourselves from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in that context, we are the biggest separatist. There are many separatists. They want the different, country, that they're separatists. But spiritually speaking, we are the biggest separatists. And that is where it is important for us to understand that if I have met somebody who is part and parcel of somebody higher, and we have the same traits, like Super Soul is there in everyone's heart, and he is part and parcel, then we should have that element of affinity, and we should look all of them equally. And this verse, if you see, there is another thing which is really striking in this verse. And the first two words, Vidya, Vinaya, that means who is, because this chapter is Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. How to dovetail our work or Karma Yoga or prescribed duties in Krishna consciousness. And the first two letters is Vidya, Vinaya. You might have seen the trees which are full of mangoes and it is, those trees have sunk. They have always going down. And the trees who do not have any mangoes, they will be all upright. So the first two letters on this verse, which you are seeing on the screen, is if you have real knowledge, you will be Vinaya. That means you will be gentle or humble. So Vidya Vinaya Samparne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Suni. Suni means in the dog, right? And the dog eater. In the dog eater is Swapake. And Pandita Samadarshana means he looks at all these people, all the spectrum of the people in the same way, and what kind of behavior he exert on others. He is humble, exactly like a tree full of mangoes is bent down, and the tree which doesn't have mangoes, it's always upright. So this verse we all should inculcate in our lives, how to see everyone equally and how to be humble. And that is when you meet somebody who is part and parcel of somebody we belong to, we have that affinity. And that is where, instead of looking at whether he is from the same state from India or from the same country as in India, but if we think he is from the spiritual state of his Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, then all these problems, the United Nation, which is unable to solve. That's why Prabhupada, he was looking at everything equally. He was Samadarshina. And in New Jersey, once upon a time, in when Prabhupada came, this is written by one of the senior disciples of Prabhupada. Mataji has written that there is an insect which is called slug. And slug is an insect which is very, very ugly. So once Prabhupada was seated in a garden and was chanting, and Mataji, his disciple, Govinda Devi, Dasi Mataji, was also chanting. And all of a sudden, her eyes went to this slug insect. The slug insect is very ugly. If you Google it, you'll find out it's a very ugly insect. So Mataji was having a very negative reaction in looking at the slug insect. But His Divine Grace Prabhupada looked, and with so much of karuna, with so much of mercy, he looked and then started chanting. And then, after some time, he invited Govinda Mataji to come and chant for that insect, so that when this incident was happening, Mataji felt that His Divine Grace was fully Samadarshana. He was looking everybody exactly as if they're part and parcel of the Supreme, that one like us. And that reaction exemplified that he wanted everyone to live under the same roof. And that's why he created this beautiful society where everybody can live. And once Srila Prabhupada in LA, in our new Dwarka Dham, which is one of the beautiful temples which came up, they have beautiful Lord Jagannath there. And there, once Prabhupada was in his room and he started calling out with a calling bell, because Prabhupada was becoming, and then his personal servant, Shrudakirti Prabhu, came, and Srila Prabhupada said, there is an insect there, very small insect there. He's not moving for quite some time. And Shrudakirti Prabhu looked around and he couldn't even see the insect. But Prabhupada was so caring. He could see the insect in the corner of the room, and the insect was not moving. Srila Prabhupada ordered his personal servant Shrudakirti Prabhu to get a Mahaprasad garland, and take the insect on, put the insect on the garland, and take the entire flower garland and put it outside on a tree, so that the extent of care Prabhupada could give was unthinkable. Shrudakirti Prabhu couldn't even see the insect, but Prabhupada has so much of mercy and karuna so much of compassion that he could see and let the insect be taken respectfully to a tree. And and when Srila Prabhupada came to India, there is so much of opposition. There is so much of opposition which they did not want the Brahmanas, the Smartha Brahmanas in India. They didn't want Americans to have that upliftment in the spiritual life by getting Diksha. And when this was going on, Srila Prabhupada quoted from the scriptures. And this is the verse he quoted from the scriptures from 3rd canto, 33rd chapter, and 7th verse. Ahobata Shwapakota Griharyam Yach Jivhagare Vartate Namatubhyam Tepas Tapaste Yuhubhu Sansur Arya Brahmanachur Namagranthadyete. He says, "Oh, how glorious are those tongues who are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the families of dog eater, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your lordship must have executed all kind of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your lordships, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied in the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required." So that means anybody who has chanted, just because you are born to a Brahmana family, doesn't give you the license to be a Brahmana if you are not following the scriptural guidances. Like, say, for example, if somebody is a doctor, if the son doesn't study well, can he become a doctor? Can he be given the chance to become a doctor? Is spiritualism so low that just because you are born to a family, you could... and when Prabhupada quoted this from Srimad Bhagavatam, everybody kept quiet. And then Srila Prabhupada was also challenged as to why the foreigners who belongs to a different race can take Diksha and become Krishna conscious, become spiritual devotees, or become Brahmanas, or become sannyasis. And there Srila Prabhupada quoted again from scriptures. Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulaksha Abhira Shumbha Yavana Shayada Nayecha Papayat Apsharaya Shraya Shudhanti Tamsai Prabhavishnave Nama. Let's try to dissect this verse properly so that we all are clear in our mind. Kirata means a province of old Bharata. Huna means part of Germany and Russia. Andhra, a province of southern India, which is Andhra Pradesh. Pulinda, the Greeks. Pulaksha, another province. Abhira, part of old Sindh, which is now in Pakistan, Afghanistan area. Shumbha, another province. Yavana, the Turks. Khashadya, the Mongolian province. Yea, even those, Anni, others, Cha also, Papa, addicted to sinful acts, Yat, whose, Apashraya, Ashraya, having taken shelter of the devotees of the Lord, Sudhyanti, at once purified, Tamsai, upon him, Prabhavishnave, unto the powerful Vishnu, Nama, my respectful obeisances. Kirita, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulaksha, Abhira, Sumbha, Yavana, members of the Khasa races, and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord due to his being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. What a powerful verse. Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam, Amala Purana, is saying that anybody from any corner, and look at how Srimad Bhagavatam was. Srimad Bhagavatam was written thousands of years ago, and still it didn't offer to ignore any part of the world. Germany, Russia, Sindh, from anywhere, people can take up this wonderful Krishna consciousness. You just have to practice it, not take it by birth. And once you do that, you have the license to be a Brahmana. You have the license to be a sannyasi. Nobody can really stop you. Because Vyasadeva is saying it. Supreme Personality of Godhead is saying it. Part of Germany and Russia. That's the reason why Russia is the largest Krishna conscious speedy movement in the world right now. People are taking up Krishna consciousness like anything. So if we have any doubt through our families or through our association, for our material association, you have these two powerful verses we have researched to really quote, which says that Krishna consciousness is just not for Hindus, it's for the whole world. It's a way of life. So with that, I would like to summarize this powerful verse, because I would like to hear more from you about this verse. Because if we have internalized this verse in our life, a lot of the problems in this world is going to change, and is going to. That's the reason why Srila Prabhupada wanted everybody to come under one roof, not have this state kind of a thing. That's the reason why when you go to Lord Jagannath Puri, the Mahaprasad of Lord Jagannath is so powerful, and when you try to eat and from there Brahmana is eating and you have not understood the spiritual principles, you want to say that, I don't want to eat because, it's jhuta. The Brahmana will tell you that you do not have the potency to do jhuta of Lord Jagannath Prasad. Because from the same plate, anybody and everybody can eat. Because we do not have the potency to do jhuta of Lord Jagannath. When Lord Jagannath is opening his arms and saying, why are we creating barriers by trying to have this or that or that? Because Lord Jagannath wants to be Lord Jagannath. He wants to be with the people whole around the world, because he's the Lord of the universe. And once he's treated within his international devotees, his name is respected. And once we try to segregate him to certain area, we are actually undermining him. And that is the reason why this verse stands out in our lives. And this verse we all should take back and internalize. And once we have understood this, we will not mistreat people, we will not differentiate people, and we will always respect everybody, and we will inculcate that element of humility. And the person who is truly intelligent is humble, and the person who doesn't have anything, he's not at all humble. So with that, thinking of equality in our thought process, because we all are part and parcel of the Supreme, we all should work towards having that element of equality. And when we start becoming self-realized, we start thinking everyone as the part and parcel of the Supreme. And if we are not seeing everyone as part and parcel of the Supreme, that means we have some impurities to cleanse by chanting, by associating. So with that, I like to end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.